Okay, Eric Ham joins us now. He's a U.S. political analyst and author. He joins us from our Washington studio. Eric, nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. This, to me, felt like classic Obama, brand Obama, the message of hope and change that we've been hearing for 8 years. What did you make of the speech?
Oh, this had a little bit of everything. And of course, President Obama owned this moment just like we knew that he would. This was a victory lap. This was a thank you tour. But also, more importantly, this was actually a tutorial for President-elect Trump. So he was speaking to his supporters. He was also, I think, showing Donald Trump, what this job will entail. And of course, he was thanking all of the supporters and the country for actually giving him 8 years as the president of the United States.
And as we've just heard there, he really highlighted some of his successes, despite, a lot of criticism of his legacy, both domestically and internationally.
Oh, that's right, and he had a Congress that was very difficult to work with, but he did achieve so much. As he mentioned in the speech, he pulled the automobile industry back from the brink. He actually was able to kill bin Laden, something that George W. Bush hadn't been able to do. He actually brought the economy back. And then, of course, he achieved something that no president has ever done before, and that's creating universal health care for millions of uninsured Americans.
Well, as we also heard, he was very candid on race relations. Just stay with us, Eric, because he was saying that race remained a potent and divisive force in society. However, he also noted race relations were better than that they had been a decade ago. Let's have a listen.
But we're not where we need to be. And all of us have more work to do. If every economic issue is framed as a struggle between a hardworking white middle class and an undeserving minority, then workers of all shades are going to be left fighting for scraps while the wealthy withdraw further into their private enclaves.
Eric, do you think that perhaps expectations were too high, that an African-American man, the first one to be in the White House, that perhaps the expectations of him changing race relations in the United States was just too excessive?
Well, I don't know if it was too excessive, but we have to understand that he was a hopeful candidate, and many people placed on him their expectations of what they saw in themselves, but also what they saw in this country. And so I think it was something that America wanted to see happen. We recognize that over the 8 years that there have been some problems, particularly when you look at the increase of unarmed African Americans who have been killed in this country. You look at places like Ferguson, Missouri, Baltimore, Maryland, places that have really come under fire. And so there have been problems, but again, Barack Obama, I think, strives and wants to see the country strive to actually reach its ideal place in terms of its diversity and where we're seeing demographically the country going.
And just briefly, he also gave a shout out to his wife and the First Lady, Michelle Obama, who really has been the darling of U.S. media for the past 8 years.
Sure, and when he did that, I'm sure there was not a dry eye in the room and for those watching across the country. Michelle Obama has become a rock star in her own right. I think many people on the left would love to see her run for office. She's a star, no doubt about it, and she is integral and part and parcel to Barack Obama's success, both as a statesman and as the President of the United States.
Eric, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.